Welcome to another episode of the DSM Wealth Sprint Series presented by Revel One Financial. I'm Adam Carroll, and we're here to give you a quick yet informative look at financial health and family legacy planning. With me today, Ron Rawlings with Dallas Financial Wholesalers and Rachel Rawlings, who is Director of Operations and coincidentally, Ron's daughter. Ron and Rachel, welcome to the DSM Wealth Podcast.
Thank you, Adam. Glad to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Yeah, so good to have you both. Before we dive in, would you both give our listeners just a quick snapshot of your bio?
Sure. Thanks for asking, Adam. Glad to be here with you again. So, myself personally, I've been here with Dallas Financial Wholesalers. I founded the firm back in February of 1988. We are a wholesale financial firm here based in Plano, Texas. We support over 22,000 financial advisors across the country in our particular areas of expertise when it comes to financial planning and estate planning. And I've been very glad to be here for quite some time. It better work out because I don't know how to do anything else.
Thank you for having me, Adam. My name is Rachel Rawlings. I've been with the firm for 6 years. I am currently working on my certified financial planner. I am also a licensed agent and also Ron's daughter, but happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, this seems so timely in the fact that we have a father-daughter team in the financial industry. I feel like this question is the most appropriate one. When is the best time to create a financial and legacy plan for your family?
Yeah, it is a great question, Adam. This is like a lot of other things in life. Timing is everything, right? It's kind of like positional awareness. The World Cup's going on now, right? So it doesn't make any
Yeah.
difference what kind of game you're playing, whether it's the financial game or whether it's the World Cup soccer. Where you got to know where you are on the field, right? So the
Yeah.
way that we drill it down, Adam, is there's basically three stages in everybody's financial life. There's a lot of things that make us different, but there are some things in life that make us the same. And one of the things that makes us the same is those three stages in all of our financial life. Rachel, why don't you tell us about the first one?
Sure, the first phase is the accumulation phase. This is in your younger earning years, usually your 20s, 30s, or 40s, kind of where I am right now. You're not close to your retirement. You're more risk acceptable. With more risk, you can get greater return, and you have plenty of time to recover from any losses.
Yeah, any fumbles, you got time to pick up the ball, right?
Hmm.
So, as Rachel said, the first phase in everybody's financial life is the accumulation phase. Adam, the second phase that we teach people around the country in their financial life is what we call the preservation stage. Now, in the preservation stage, we still want to make as much money as possible. Don't get me wrong, we're not giving up on returns, okay? But our primary focus in the preservation stage, as the name implies, switches over to preserving what we've already accumulated. Now,
Mm.
time wise, like Rachel said, the accumulation phase is usually 20s, 30s, and 40s. So, as you would imagine, in your 50s and maybe your early 60s, you transition over into the preservation phase. There was an old humorist that some of us will remember, older folks, older professionals like me. Will Rogers was an American humorist. Will Rogers' most famous quote for me, Adam, was, "I'm more concerned with the return of my principal than the return on my principal." Now, Will wanted to make some bank. Don't get me wrong. He wanted to make some
Yeah.
returns, but he was concerned about getting that money back. Now, I said there were three stages, right? So the accumulation phase, the preservation phase, and lastly, what we call the distribution phase. In the distribution phase, we start contemplating and thinking about transferring some of what is left over after I'm gone onto the next generation for their benefit. Now, most of the time in the distribution phase of our life, we're still in that safe money mode, if you will. We don't
Yep.
we don't want to we don't want to we don't want to lose the family farm or blow the family nest egg. Okay, but during that time, we begin to think about how to efficiently transfer, which includes not only your style of investment, but even working with like an estate planning attorney, different legal instruments, your will, a living trust, a post-mortem trust, things like that, legal documents and instruments. So as I said, no matter where you are in the game, there's one time that is the best time to get started, and that is now.
That is now, no doubt. And I'd probably be remiss if I didn't ask this question of you guys. There are so many resources online, and of course, everyone's an expert if you have ChatGPT in your back pocket, right?
Yeah.
But is this stuff you can do yourself?
That's a great question. I'm glad that you asked. I would advise that you do this only if you're one type of individual, okay? Because there are certain odd one-off personality types. Now, if you're the type that is going to do your own appendectomy at home, or you enjoy doing your own root canals in your garage, and you've got an elaborate now, maybe you're that kind of guy. So obviously, my answer to you is going to be no. Now, I know that information is everywhere. And information is power. I get it.
Yeah.
I appreciate. I am a connoisseur. I am a connoisseur of information. Okay, and with regard to financial information and information being everywhere, there are over 60,000 publicly traded stocks around the world. That was 60,000, over 60,000 publicly traded stocks, Adam. Okay. How about exchange traded funds? There are over 10,000 exchange traded funds around the country. Okay.
Crazy.
There are literally millions, as you know, of government and corporate bonds, right? Oh, let's not forget about crypto. Okay. And not just the big daddy of crypto, all the different flavors of crypto. There are over 10,000 digital currencies being traded around the country right now
Wow.
as we speak. Okay. So the point is, there are literally millions of individual investment options. Okay. So the question is, I'll answer the question with a question. Is this your area of expertise? If this is your area of expertise, great. If it is not, great. Then avail yourself of a financial professional, right, Rachel?
Exactly. And you have to think about, for example, your medical health. You want a
Mm.
professional. For example, my husband broke his leg skiing last year, and so we found a doctor to have surgery and fix his leg. The same is true for financial health. Why would you want anything less? And there's a false notion here in America that we need to know everything and that we
Yeah.
need to be able to do this ourselves, and that's simply just not true.
Yeah, especially for men, right? So thinking we're supposed to know everything. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Rachel. So it's important to find a professional, but how do you get started with that? What do you look for in a professional?
Yeah, you look for somebody who is relatable, somebody who
Mm,
has good bedside manner, who communicates with you, who's respectful of you, and someone who wants to understand you and your goals.
mm, good.
So good. If in our final seconds here, you guys, what are the first steps towards taking action towards legacy planning or financial health planning?
Adam, how I would respond to that, I'd say first of all, while this is extremely important, and while you do need to have experts in your corner, just like you have a money team, just like you have a health team, as Rachel was saying, right? Here's what I'm trying to lead us towards. This doesn't have to be overly complicated, okay? Whether it's at the beginning, the end, or all through the different points in the process, there's one three-letter word that you have to keep in mind. This is about you. Okay. That's why we can keep it not too incredibly complicated. You got to remember you are at the center of everything. Okay. It is you who earned the money. Now, what do you want the money to do for you? I said a moment ago that oftentimes I will answer a question such as yours, Adam, with a question. My corresponding question, when you said, look, what are the first steps? I said, well, the first question is, what do you want this money to do for you?
Mm,
That is what we call your financial plan. It's what the money is going to do for you. The
yeah.
second question that I have to answer your question with is, what do you want this money to do for your family? That's what we call your legacy plan. Okay. So remember those two things. Where do you want the money to go now and in your financial future? Okay. It's your job. You have professionals on your team, but it will be your job to determine where you want to be. When you determine where you want to be and you communicate that, as Rachel said, to your financial professional, it is your financial professional's job to set your GPS,
Yeah.
to chart so that you can get where you want to go. And together, working with your financial professional, it's your and your financial advisor's job collectively to not only set the GPS, but to create a map, an old school map, if you will. Because someday when I'm gone, that map's going to be there. And Rachel will know how to get where I want her to be.
I love it. I love it. Such good actionable advice, you guys. Thanks so much for sharing it with our listeners. Ron and Rachel Rawlings with Dallas Financial Wholesalers. Thank you guys for being part of DSM Wealth.
Thank you,
Thank
Adam.
you so much.